Okay, so we've looked at managing a list within ServiceNow. Let's look at an actual form. I'm just going to pull up an existing ServiceNow record and talk about the fields that are in it, and then we'll actually create an incident. This is an existing record. When you create it, there's some automatic things that are created from the record. We notice it automatically gives it the next sequential number as the incident number. It's always going to be INC at the beginning of it for ours. It's going to automatically give it a time and date stamp. And whoever is logged into ServiceNow, it's going to automatically give it the opened by. In this case, Victor Edwards created this and opened it. The first thing we want to do is put in the requester information. It'll pull up some associated information. We see we've got, and I'll just talk about in this one, some basic functionality of using a ticket or looking at a ticket. We've got the section for the category subcategory. It automatically will give you an assignment group. In this case, it was the CNS wired network, and it was assigned to Richard Berry. The state of this is resolved. That'll change as the ticket progresses. So it originally starts as new, and then it's active. You can change the status, and then eventually resolved. It came through as a phone call. We can change that to either a self-service, which will be a function in the future, or somebody that walked in, a chat, or email. When you scroll down through an existing record, you can see how it was set up with the impact and urgency that determines the priority of the record. Got a short description of what is needed or what the symptoms and problems are. We've got an external ID. This is specific to a certain type. Some information, some category, subcategory, you get different information necessary, where it's located. And then a general description of what's going on and what needs to happen, and additional information needed to give to the technician. The next section, you can see you can put a lot of information there. The next section is the additional comments. This is for communication with the customer mainly. Anytime you put any information in the comments and save it, an email will be sent to the customer with the information and update on their ticket. When you scroll to the last section, you'll see any activity that has happened with this record. You can see who it's been assigned to and when, what information they put in, if anything was changed or additional comments or a status changed, and then all the way to the very start. So it's listed with the most recent listed first and scrolled on down through. The next is additional comments and work notes. We currently don't use that section. We use the section above for our work notes. And then down at the bottom, we've got any related tasks and information. Mainly we'll use this if we have a child incident, or we have an incident that's called in by multiple people and we need to record those incidents separately. And we can talk about that more specifically with process-related information. So that's an existing ticket and what it looks like once it's been populated. Let's now create a new incident. So I'm simply going to go within my service desk record and click on Create New Incident. You'll notice, as we said before, it's time and date stamped, and it's open by, and you have my information as open by since I'm the one logged in here. The number will not be populated until you save the record. And the requester is just inputted information, usually based on the Link Blue login ID. I'm going to go ahead and use Bonnie again. And I'll put in just a portion of it, and it goes ahead and pops up and says there's only one record that has this selection. So I click that. If I put in something that it doesn't find, so I do Vanovers, and it looks through the existing data in the search, and it'll put a red line underneath saying, as a warning sort of message saying we didn't find anybody, and that's an invalid reference. In that case, I could look more specifically. If it doesn't pop it up automatically, I can just click on the search to look up using the list. In this case, it didn't have me logged in. Sometimes a screen refresh, you'll have to do that. Okay, so now I'll do a search, and it brings up the correct window for us, and we've got search by last name. But right now I'm in a subset, so I'm going to use that breadcrumb again we talked about and go to all records, and I'm going to use her last name. I can use last name, first name, UK ID number, or the user ID, which is their link blue ID, and any of the information for those quick searches. If I want to just do Vanover and click search, it'll bring up all the instances of anyone with the last name Vanover. Okay, and I could search through and find the right one I wanted. Bonnie's got some test ones, so I want to be a little more specific. So let's go back to the user ID and BVANOVE and search. Okay, and there's the specific one I want. So I select that, and when I do, it'll automatically populate her phone number associated with her SAP account. So if Bonnie puts in her cell phone number as her SAP contact number in the profile information of My UK, that's what will be populated here. I want to hover over the information and just ensure that I actually have an email address for Bonnie, since there's so much communication within ServiceNow through emails. If I didn't have that, I'd want to add that information, and we'll show you how to do that in just a minute. We want to add an email address. So we've got this phone type. Bonnie called this in. It's currently new, and she is on campus. If the category she's calling in about, we have requests listed within these. So she's requesting some sort of activity, or we have the incidents listed by categories here. So Bonnie is requesting a password reset. That is our most popular request, so we're going to put it in as a password reset. It automatically assigns it to the service desk team. The impact is just one user and a low impact, and in this case it's a request, so it defaults to a 5. If we needed to upgrade this in other instances, it could be all users. So if everybody on an application is not able to process, or if some people, so if a certain floor of the university phone system, their entire system's out, that's just some people within the university that don't have phone access. So that would be some, or just one user. One person has a problem with one specific thing just unique to them. Then we'd want to put the short description. In this case, it's reset password. And we'd enter the comments, reset password. And any additional work notes we might need. And we'd also want to enter here a standard reply on what the password restrictions are for that. So when they get that email, they'll be able to get the information. So we'll look at the password reset processes to know exactly what to do with that. Additionally with that, in this case, we've answered the customer's problem and resolved their issue. So we want to actually make this a resolved ticket. Okay? When it's resolved, we want to actually put who resolved it. And in this case, I resolved it. And then that's all the additional information we need for this ticket. I can click on Save, which will keep me on this current record, or I can click Submit, and it'll basically save and close this record and create a service number here for us. So I would click on Submit, and then it'll take me back to, and I'm going to leave without saving. But we'd want to submit to save that, and it'll bring us back to this page, and we would have our record as the next one in line for this service. That's the basics of looking at ServiceNow. We'll have other videos that show more detail on process and designing things and using other functions within ServiceNow.